good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Welcome to Tea Time. That's right, I'm back from hiatus. I took off for the month of August. I have so much to tell you about and get to my guest. It is September 9th, people. So I'm going to just mention what I did over the weekend and then what's coming up. Basically, Friday night, Friday the 6th was my birthday. Woohoo! I turned the big 6-0. And my friend Matt, well, this show my baby picture. There I am at a year old. That's me at a year old. I was blonde. I was a blonde when I was born. And Friday for my birthday, I celebrated with my dear friend of 40 years, Matthew Panzo. And he made me a spectacular dinner, and we had an amazing time listening to the Beatles and the Beach Boys and great music and great food, and it was wonderful spending time with him. It was just great. Saturday, oh, and then that night, was it that night? No, the next night. There I am with Ro. Okay, that's my daughter's mother-in-law, Ro. Went to go see my son-in-law, Steven, play. The Two Fat Guys, that's what they're called. The Two Fat Guys played Saturday night. And check them out and see when they're playing next, because that was a lot of fun. Saturday, that was Friday. Saturday, the birthday picture, there it is. Went with the family to Villa d'Aqua. And that was a beautiful dress that I picked up in Greece, and everyone loved it, and I loved it too. And then yesterday, I went with my beautiful parents to see my 97-year-old godmother and my Aunt Vita Rizzo in Connecticut, and that's their picture. All right, so now, we're doing Murdered by the Mob this Saturday night, God willing. There I am as Bunny. There I am as Rosella. Who am I going to be this Saturday night? I don't even know yet. So make sure you go to murderedbythemob.com and get your tickets to see that show, because it's a great show. And what else is going on? While I was away in August, I got to film two things. I filmed New York Homicide with the Oxygen Network, and I also filmed Heavy Hitters with Candace Kane. It's going to be a baseball series, so I'm very excited about that. Also, what was the last thing I want to see? Greece. I have two pictures, I think, from Greece. There I am with my girlfriend, Doreen. I met her when I was 4. She was 5. We've been friends ever since. And behind us is the Acropolis, all lit up to the left. And that was in Athens. We went to Athens, we went to Mykonos, and we went to Santorini. And we loved it. All right, I think I covered everything, and if I didn't, I'm sorry. But I'm just glad to be back on Tea Time. I appreciate everybody, tuning in. Please like the show, please share it. I'm very excited to be here. And I'm excited because my guest, who's originally a New Yorker, now lives in California, and he flew in, and he goes, I'm gonna be in New York, could I do your show? And I'm like, absolutely. So welcome, Stephen Michael Kelly. How are you?
Thank you, Theresa. I'm good. I'm good.
I got the whole name in.
Oh, God.
Yes, and he is
an
actor, he's a writer, he's a director, and he's an author. You do it all.
Try to.
You do.
Yeah,
All right, so let's let everyone get to know you.
Sure.
So like I said, you're originally from New York. You grew up in Manhattan?
I grew up in Manhattan, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to school, high school and college in the Bronx.
Uh-huh.
Moved out lived in Northern Virginia for
Oh,
a
wow.
while.
Okay.
And then made the jump to Southern California in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
So you've been out there quite a
been
while.
Quite a while. In fact, longer than anywhere else I've lived, which is kind of crazy.
Really?
I'm still a New Yorker in like temperament, but you know, yeah,
get it.
I've been
I
out
get
there
it.
a long time. Yeah. So
And while you're here, you kind of like visited some old stomping grounds?
I did.
Yeah.
I have a book out, and I went back to my high school. Take a look at that on Fordham Road.
Yeah.
Looked at Fordham University, and then I went down to Manhattan
Nice.
and went to my grammar school.
Oh,
And
nice.
actually gave them a book.
That's nice,
Copy of my book.
which we're definitely going to talk about. But I want to
Yeah.
know, what were your aspirations as a kid? I mean, did you, like a lot of boys want to grow up and they want to get into sports or, stuff like that. But were you always in the arts? Were you in the theater? Like, what were you involved with?
I wasn't. I actually worked on Wall Street
Okay.
in college, and worked on the New York Commodity Exchange. Actually,
Okay.
the World Trade Center. Worked there. When I moved to Northern Virginia, I worked for E.F. Hutton. So I worked for IBM. So I was completely
Wow.
business
Okay.
oriented.
Yeah.
And then I just got the bug, kind of.
Okay. You woke up one day with a bug.
Well, yeah. Yes. Sort of, kind
You
of.
said, where'd this come
Yeah,
from?
geez, I got this rash, and the doc's like, I don't know, dude. You
So
gotta.
now you actually did theater come before modeling? Because you did commercial or print modeling.
I did. So theater came first.
Okay, so theater came first, and you were in productions like The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. You did The Mystery of Edwin Drew. Edwin. Is it Drood?
Drood, yeah, Drood.
And
Yeah.
The Lilies of the Field.
I did. So after that, because I started doing plays,
Yes.
I needed to get headshots done.
Yes, you did.
So I started getting headshots done, and met a guy. Said, "Hey, look, I do a lot of commercial work. I can use you." So I did like Geico print ads, or I did.
Oh, that's cool.
I did something where I was actually wearing one of the space suits from one of the actors from The Right Stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had to actually fly the suit in from Hollywood.
Wow.
It was insured, and you had to don't rip anything.
Oh, no.
Put it on, wear it for 8 hours, hot as blazes on it.
Really?
And ship it back to Hollywood. And then I did actually did the print work for a musical, Starlight Express.
Oh,
which
I
was,
remember that.
Which was actually in Vegas at the Las Vegas Hilton. I was still back east,
Right.
but they needed print work done. So
Right,
I
right,
actually was
right.
cast as one of them. So billboards and stuff.
Wow, that is so cool.
And I was actually on a $5 poker chip.
Wait, you got to tell me how that happened.
So Starlight Express, it is a show. It's an Andrew Lloyd Webber play,
Yes,
musical
yes.
where people are parts of a train.
Right, right.
So the costumes were very specific. So they picked, I think, 3 cast members.
Okay.
And I was one of them. And
Really?
so they did the likeness of it. It was a $5 poker chip. And I remember I went out to Vegas.
Don't tell me you try to hand them one of your chips.
Well, I actually had one on me, and and I said, "Oh, I got this chip. This guy looks familiar." And the deal was like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." And I go, "Oh, I did this." He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, oh, okay." So
Yeah.
it was,
That's
it's
funny.
kind of crazy, but it was funny. But
Now-
it just kept. It got me a lot of work. So I did stuff like nursing ads. I was a lawyer in a print ad. Again, I did Geico
Right,
print ads.
Right,
Teacher, lawyer, doctor,
right.
that kind of stuff.
So you got quite a bit of work.
Yeah, actually, it started to really, because there's a lot of commercial work that, people think of print work, like runway stuff. No, there's a lot of stuff
There's a lot of
there's
print
a lot
work,
of print
yeah,
work that
yeah,
goes
yeah.
into it, So I got a lot of work that way, and then
That's great.
decided I was living in Northern Virginia. I had to decide whether, okay, do I go back to New York
Right,
and do theater there,
right.
or do I go out to California?
Okay.
And I had a job I was a bartender at Planet Hollywood in Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
and I applied for transfer because there was a job opening in Southern California.
Okay.
And like, oh man, forget it. You're not going to get it. There's going to be 1,000 people in Southern California alone applying for it.
Right.
I applied for it. I'd never been west of Texas.
Really?
Yeah. So I flew out for the interview. I came back, and I got it. I got the job.
Wow.
But I had to be out in California in 10 days.
Wow.
So I literally had to pack up my
up
car
everything.
and drive 3,000 miles, and I would like drive 15 hours and stop at a Motel 6.
Oh, yeah.
And then like I had the big TVs back then.
Yeah.
So I packed my TV with me, right? So I had to unload the damn TV every single night in the hotel room.
Oh my gosh.
And bring it back every morning,
Oh my gosh.
haul it back in. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so I went out to California, but it was good because I had a job.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's the whole thing is, you got to have something
Yeah.
steady to, pay the bills.
Right. So I was able to get my SAG card. I got enough background work to get my
Yeah.
SAG card,
Yeah.
and
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we have some pictures of you that we'll put up. They're not of you back in the day, but I have to say, you take one hell of a picture. You really do. You do. Between whatever headshots I was able to pull. There's one with you and a mustache. Yeah, tell me about that. Leave that there. Tell me about that pic. Tell me about that pic.
it was something it was a I
Was it a
grow-
phase? Was it a phase?
No, I grow a mustache during the wintertime sometimes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I was getting headshots done.
Yeah.
And
Let me see the next one,
the guy
please.
said,
But there's a tough guy look.
well, that is actually in the same shoot. So
Is it?
I literally did.
So you shaved it off
I
the same
did.
day?
I did. I shaved it off like that. Okay, go shave. Like, hopefully, don't cut yourself. And then came back and then did that, and that was
That was a show, right?
That's from Lilies of the Field, which I did in Los Angeles.
Okay. And then the other one I
2022.
love. It's a beautiful shot. Look at those choppers. Look at it. You take a great pic. You really do.
Thank you.
You do. I can totally see you on a big, huge billboard.
Okay. Okay. We'll work that out.
No, I mean it's nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
It's
very much.
nice.
Thank you very
You know,
much.
I have to take my first break already.
Okay.
Can you? This is going to go very, very fast.
Okay.
All right, listen. I'm so happy to be back on Tea Time, and I'm so glad you're here tuning in. So don't go away. We'll be back right after this with Stephen.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
All right. Is everybody having a good time tonight or what? That's what I thought. All right, so we are live, Paradise Studios, New York. Give yourself a round of applause for coming out tonight. Woo!
Well, hi there, Theresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Theresa. Bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. It is September 9th, and I am back from hiatus. I'm very excited to have Stephen Michael Kelly with me. He's an actor, writer, director, a producer as well, and an author. He does it all. Originally from New York, via Manhattan / the Bronx, and now he's living in California. Yeah. And before I get back to you, though, you know, my birthday was Friday the 6th, and I have some birthday messages that I'm going to play every week through the month of September. And this one is from my very good friend Doc.
It is it's for Theresa. I wish you a happy birthday. Enjoy your day with your family and friends. Nothing but love. This is Doc Gayton, your brother and your good friend. Enjoy your day. Also, I'm glad your birthday only comes once a year. I'll keep the reasons to myself. Anyway, much love. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Doc.
Wow.
Yes, a little inside joke there between us. I'm
Wow.
hoping to get him back on the show
Impressive.
physically one day. I had him on virtually years ago, but I'm hoping to get him back. Yes, thank you, Doc. Thank you for the birthday wishes. So, yes, let's get back to you, my friend,
Okay.
because you have done so much. You've also performed you did that crossover now. So you're doing the modeling, you're doing theater,
Yeah.
and now you're getting into the acting,
Right.
okay?
So what had happened was I moved out California in the 90s. I got enough work to get my SAG card.
Right.
Actually got enough work to where I wasn't bartending anymore.
Oh, that's good.
But then was in a motorcycle accident.
Oof.
Yeah. So I couldn't walk for 6 months. I shattered my ankle, broke my collarbone. So I had to go back to work and get a
Wow.
real job again. So I
Yeah.
did that. And at the time, too, I was writing screenplays.
Okay.
So I was writing screenplays, but this is back in the late 90s, like 99, I went back to work and literally just put things on hold because I got married.
Right.
We had a son.
Yes.
You know, you do the
He's very athletic,
very
plays
athletic.
football.
Yeah, he played football, yeah. So, you know, I did the marriage thing with, you know, a family and a house and the whole
right.
bit.
You had to be responsible.
I had to be responsible. You know, it's not cheap living out in Southern California.
Right.
So, then in like 2021, a friend of mine who's an actor said, you know, they do reels now. Well, what's a reel? I didn't know what a reel was because
Right.
back 20 years ago, there was no such thing as reels.
No.
So, met a guy who said, oh, you know, I can do these reels for you. We can do a comedy, a drama, a romantic. I go, okay. So he wrote the 3 ones out, these reels. I said, I'm a writer. Do you mind if I write it? He said, sure, no problem.
Okay.
So I did the reels, and then happenstance, I hadn't done theater in 20 years, right?
Wow.
A play came up, and it was on the tail end of COVID.
Okay.
So a play came up where there was an actual physical audition, because back then there weren't everything was virtual, right?
I know.
So Lilies of the Field came up, and I'm like, oh man, I haven't been on stage in a long time, and we had to go and physically audition.
Yeah.
And we auditioned in front of all the other actors.
Okay.
Which was interesting, right?
Right.
Well, I got the part, and did it. That was the shot you showed me in
Yeah,
like, the
yeah,
Western.
in the Western plan
Yeah,
shirt.
so that was the play, and then through the play, I met an actor who's Argentine, and I always wanted to do kind of a New York style drama where a couple's having marital issues.
Okay.
So, having met her,
Right.
Laura Olivier, I came up with the concept, the story called No Mas. So
Yes,
I
and
wrote.
we have a picture. We have a photo. We have a photo of that too. The poster.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that up in a second. No mas. So you wrote that. You directed as
I
well.
directed and produced it.
And
yeah.
produced it. So that's gonna be coming up right there. There it is.
There it is, yeah.
No mas.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I liked the scene that I was able to see. I mean, I liked what you did. I
You know,
liked it. It was good.
It was intense.
Yes.
We basically did it in basically 2 takes.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
we're both from theater, so
Right,
we're
right.
used to being live and we're used to
Yeah.
knowing our lines. So, you know, we had rehearsed it, and it helped because I knew her
So
prior.
that was the first one you did, right?
That was my first short that I did. Yeah.
And then you did The Righteous, which I
did
think
The
we have the
Righteous.
poster on that as well. The Righteous?
Yes.
Yes. I like that too. I liked what I saw with that too.
You know, that was.
You were a tough cookie. You were
that
tough there.
that was a real fun one. That was.
It was good.
That was about a police officer
Yes,
who's
you played a cop.
deeply religious who
Yes.
thinks he's now come upon a serial killer.
Right.
And
Right.
who has
You trying to get him to confess? Yeah.
who has assaulted a woman.
Right.
And
An older woman.
An older woman, and he
Yes.
thinks that this person could actually be
Right.
the serial killer.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, he had interviewed him 8 years prior.
Right.
On a domestic violence charge.
Yeah.
So
he
that
had
was
a little,
very.
He had a little bit of a history there.
Yeah, there was a history there, and again, because he's so religious, the title being the righteous, he feels like God takes care of the righteous.
Right, right, right.
And he makes that comment within the short.
Yes. And then you did I Can't Save You. And I think we have the poster for that one as well, right? I Can't Save You?
Yeah,
That was
that
another one
one
you also wrote as well.
I did. Yeah, I did everything. That one was about similar to. Not really. It was a marital. We were divorced in this short, and I'm trying to reconcile, at least with my daughter.
Right, right,
And the problem is my character has not moved on, but my ex-wife has. And basically, I'm at my wit's end.
right.
And it just comes through what happened. In the storyline, I was a police officer who killed his partner in the line of duty by accident. So his career was just completely put on hold.
Right.
He was found not guilty, brought back on the force, but there was a lot of tension within his unit being
Sure.
back.
Yeah.
And it basically stopped his career, started drinking, and his marriage fell apart.
Right.
And so he had to really resurrect himself. When I act and when I write, I like characters when they get into some major conflict.
They're very robust. There's like they're full. They're very full characters, and they have to. From what I saw, they have to really. There's an array of emotions there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a roller coaster ride that you take us on.
Yeah, because in that one especially, he's basically looking into the abyss.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what am I going to do? And the line, "I can't save you," his ex-wife says that to him in that car scene, because he comes up to their house unexpectedly.
Right.
To see the daughter, and she's like, "You just can't show up unexpectedly."
Right.
And he starts talking about their relationship, and she's like, I can't save you anymore."
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a cliffhanger. I mean, you can watch it and you can decide what happens.
Right.
But I like the raw emotion in
Yeah.
it.
Do you like to leave an open ending where kind of it can go either way?
Yeah, all three I've done. That's
Yeah.
all. Like with No Mas, the wife agrees to try to work on the marriage.
Right.
She agrees to try.
Yeah.
So
So you don't know.
you and I could watch the same film and come to completely different conclusions,
Correct.
which I've had.
Right.
Because I've asked women how they felt. I asked my wife. She's like, "There's no way I'm taking you back." But that character. Then other people like, okay, there is hope.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
then with The Righteous was really about they wanted to see more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well, I did.
He
I
starts
did.
he starts to really blow up, and he feels like something's going to happen, and I end it right there.
Right.
And then, with I Can't Save You, I mean, really is, the next thing would be how does he get on with his daughter?
Right.
Because
right.
they are estranged.
Well, I think you're an amazing actor.
Thank you.
I watched what I was able to watch,
Yeah.
what I was pull from, and you really do embrace each character, and submerge yourself in the character and are very believable. I mean, I was believing each character you played.
thank you.
It was
Thank
and
you.
very natural. And I love the scene in the kitchen and you're joking around, and it made me laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like the scene with your wife and I forgot what line she says. When you say to her, I can't remember what it is. Something like,
is it the short I did?
Yeah, the short is like,
I could care less.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Right, that's the line. I couldn't care less, and I was laughing with you, along with you. I was like, "This is great."
That's actually based on a true story.
It's great.
I was working. I was in alcohol beverage, and I was working at one of my best accounts.
Right.
And I was selling Jameson to him, and he said to me, I asked him a question. He goes, "Oh, you know what, Stephen, do this. I could care less." So I said, "So go ahead."
Right.
He said, "Go ahead and
Don't
what?"
care.
I said, "Go ahead and care less." I said the phrase is, if I couldn't care less. So if you could care less, go ahead and care less.
Right.
He's like, what in the hell
It's
are
so
you?
funny,
What are you
though.
so he goes, okay, I just did.
Right.
I go, congratulations. He says, thank you. And then we would.
And there was the back and forth banter
it's
that connected. It was great.
It's a ridiculous thing.
It's so funny, though.
He's a guy that's just hung up
Yeah.
on, or like, when people say irregardless.
Right.
He's that guy who's like, hey, listen, it's really regardless and this and the other. That actually is a short I did.
Yeah.
I'm going to expand it.
It was great.
I'm going to make it.
It was really good.
Probably a 15-minute short.
I
I'm going to
liked
add
it.
a
It was
couple.
great.
That's on the list of things to do.
Yeah, I know. And you also performed in 2 full-length screenplays. You did Secret Messages.
Yeah, I wrote Secret Messages. I wrote, which is. It's a fantasy story about a couple dating, and it's an interracial couple. They live in Washington, D.C., and they date, they break up, and he gets mugged by the Lincoln Memorial. And he's a white lawyer, and she's a African-American doctor.
Okay.
And he wakes up during the Civil War.
Oh.
So he is a Union captain. And the characters who play the doctor, she is in it as well, and she's a slave, and he saves her, because I did a lot of research on the Civil War, and a lot of times slaves would travel with Union troops just for protection. They would
Right.
feed them, wash their clothes, so on and so forth, as they're moving through territories. So I wrote that, and then that's got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff with race, and he finds purpose in the Civil War because he's fighting for a cause
Right.
and a meaning. And his real life, he's just sort of going about. He's a lawyer, but his dad was a lawyer, and he was supposed to be a lawyer, and he's
Right.
just sort of going through life.
Yeah.
And there's no real cause for
Right,
him.
yeah.
There's no calling for him. So he does that, and that ends very interestingly. And the thing about it is, you don't know, was he really in the Civil War or not?
Right.
You don't really know. But it's not. But even if he wasn't, it's not really pertinent because it does change his life.
Right. Right.
He sees things
Yeah.
from a different perspective.
Right. It
You
affects
know,
him.
When we live
Yeah.
in a bubble, we live around the same kind of people, we're gonna make certain judgments, and she comes from a completely different world,
Sure.
and it sort of opens up his world,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives him meaning and faith, actually, and he finds compassion in areas where he didn't have it.
That's cool. And then you also did Retribution.
You know, it's funny. I Can't Save You is actually based on Retribution. It's funny, kind of funny story. I wrote it, and I actually sent it to Martin Sheen.
Really?
This is a long time ago, but sure enough, his assistant called me and said, "We've read your script.
Wow.
And we're interested in it." But I was just floored because this is when Martin Sheen was doing West Wing.
Okay.
So he was like,
Right.
mainstream, not only just film, but television
Yeah,
actor.
yeah.
But at that point, I didn't know anything about the film industry. And like, okay, well, we have Martin Sheen.
Right.
Well, you got to get funding, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the funding. But
Yes,
I
it
Can't
is.
Save You is actually a scene that's taken out of Retribution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but
Yeah.
I want to mention that No Mas and The Righteous and I Can't Save You, all 3 of those films have won over 100 awards in international film festivals.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done extremely well.
Yeah, thank you. No,
That's something to be quite proud of.
No, it was something, I didn't know the film festival world whatsoever.
Yeah, it's its
and
own. Yeah,
It's its own little thing.
it sure is.
and
Yes.
Sure enough, through the film festival world, I met people like you.
Yes, you did. But we're not going to get into that right now. What we're going to get into is my next commercial break. So stay right there. We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Hi, I'm Georgia Rose, founder of Zenkuda. You can watch me on the Soul Space podcast every Friday at noon on Channel 20 for spiritual guidance. And as you all know, that is how I first opened into my own psychic gifts, was through the angelic realm, astrology. So we've got Mars and the Sun together in Scorpio, which creates a lot of combustion. In the astrological world, we call that a kazemi, and tarot. When the Four of Cups right side up, it means we have a lot of choices to make, and we're not looking at what's really being divinely given to us. We're too busy in the busyness of the choices to really see the divine intervention and the divine timing and the divine guidance. We're the place. Watch the Soul Space podcast.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Theresa Canastraci Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Theresa on Facebook, Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love how we'll come back with that. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm with Stephen Michael Kelly. He's an actor, writer, director, producer, author. And before the break, we were talking about your indies, your No Mas and The Righteous, and I Can't Save You, and how these festivals have, how these films have won in so many festivals. And you mentioned me, and we met through a mutual friend.
Correct. So in the film festival world,
Yes.
once you start winning or placing at least, you start to kind of see the same names, right? So you get to meet people.
Then you stalk them.
Well, possibly. Well, Frank would say yes. I think that I don't agree to that. That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother segment. But so you start to meet people through the film festival world.
Right.
And then, like, let's say it's a guy named Frank Mancuso. So Frank starts winning, and you
see his name all over the place.
So you like his stuff on Instagram,
Right.
and then all of a sudden he does the same thing to you.
Right.
And I had seen some of Frank's work.
Yeah.
And this is how it happens to me. An idea literally pops into my head.
Okay.
And I had an idea of, because Frank's Italian.
Yes.
And I had this kind of a Irish-Italian mob scene that I wanted to do.
Right.
And
you came up with?
It's funny.
Did you, obviously you reached out to him
first,
first, or did you write it first?
No,
like what came first, the chicken or the egg?
The chicken came first because I texted Frank through Instagram. We'd never spoken before.
Okay.
And I said, hey, we should work together. And I sent it to him. Silence.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's like, who's this?
Yeah, exactly. Then he said, okay.
Yeah.
So I pitched it to him. He goes, okay, write it.
Yeah.
So I wrote a couple of pages.
Right.
And I'll never forget it. It was...
Well, because he wanted to see if you were legit and if you could write, and he doesn't know you.
And we live in a social media world.
Right.
I've never met Frank at that point. We've never spoken on the telephone.
Right.
So
it's a different world these days.
Different world these days.
Yeah.
So I remember it vividly. It was Easter Sunday.
Okay.
I'm at the gym and I get this 917 number. I go, okay, no. And it was Frank.
Right.
So we started talking, and sure enough, came up with the concept of Mikey Blue Eyes, but then as I started writing it, then all of a sudden, like, different characters came into it.
Right.
Originally, it was just going to be myself and Frank in this kind of like a bar scene where we have beef over the same business. Same
Right.
We're in the same industry, and we have a beef over the same client.
Right.
But then I integrated his sister as a former love interest.
Right.
And then that just...
grew.
That grew. Then
Yeah.
Frank's wife, which is you in it.
Me.
Me.
Let's talk about the cast.
Yeah.
Who's in the cast? Other than myself and you. You are playing Mikey.
I'm playing
Mikey, it's called Mikey Blue Eyes. This is the script right here. We all have. Thank you for
Oh,
putting
look at
that up.
that.
Hey,
There we go.
Bobby's on the ball
Good
tonight.
job. Good job.
And that is the cast. Why don't you tell everyone who we're looking at?
Sure. So, myself, there's Theresa, there's you, there's myself. There's Daniel Collette, who plays Theresa, who is Franco's sister and my love interest. There's Ralph Cirillo, who plays...
Ralph Bracco.
Ralph Bracco, excuse me, sorry. Ralph Bracco, who plays bodyguard to Franco.
Okay.
And there's
Joe
Franco.
Cirillo. Joe
And then
Cirillo.
Joe Cirillo. Legendary actor, was in
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
He was in Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Yep. And then we have Frank.
And Frank.
Yeah.
Frank, who plays Franco. And Joe is the restaurant owner that when I haven't seen Theresa
In like 20 years.
In 20 years.
Right.
And I literally had beef with Franco that day.
Right.
I go to a restaurant and we've been together. We broke up 20 years. We both got married.
Right,
We both got
right,
divorced. You know,
right. Live
different-
lives.
Yeah, live lives.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her in at least a decade. I'd say, because
Wow.
she moved upstate.
Right.
And when she got divorced,
Right.
she came back
Yeah.
into town. So literally, I hadn't seen her in 10 years, and then she shows up at
Right.
Joe's restaurant.
Because there are no accidents. in
There are no
life.
accidents,
Well, I have to
so-
say, I love the script. I'm excited to be in it, and it is, you know, it's funny, it's quick-witted. I like the banter that goes on between the characters. You know, I think that I don't want to give too much away. Hopefully, we'll be filming sometime, maybe spring 2025.
That's what we're shooting for. Yeah, here.
Excuse me.
Here on Long Island, probably, right?
Here on Long Island.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. You know, and then there, you know, you mentioned Frank through the. How did that first conversation go? Because obviously you're at the gym, you pick up the phone, and he's like, and obviously you didn't hear anything from him. It was like kind of crickets in the beginning, and then he finally reached out to you. He finally called you.
So, I get the call. I'm Frank Mancuso. Okay, I get it. You're a tough guy. I get it. You're a tough Italian guy. I like your work. Keep writing. No. He's a very smart, funny guy.
No, he's great. He's a machine. When it comes to writing, Frank is a machine.
Yeah.
He's written so many things, and he also many awards.
He has.
A lot of great things.
He said 100. He gets that like a month.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
He was so unimpressed with that number.
He's
Yeah, he was so unimpressed with that number. Frank's a great guy. Just ask him. Just ask him.
Right.
So it's exciting. And you basically kind of left the casting to him because you knew you wanted to film it here, and he knew people.
I did.
Because he knows people.
He does know people. But you know what? See, he's a really good guy because originally he said, okay, let's both write something. I'll write and you write. And I said, listen, at this point in my career, I don't collaborate. And Frank was big enough of a man to say, okay,
right,
do your thing.
yeah.
Because at that point, I was already invested in Mikey Blue Eyes because I'd already written, let's say, 10 pages of it.
Right.
And I already had all the main characters already set. It wasn't just Frank and
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
It was, you know, you and the sisters and everybody else.
Right.
So, you know, for Frank to do that, that's not easy because, you know, we're all...
Because as a writer, you want to write. I get it. But again, it's your vision. It was your vision, your concept, your baby.
Yep.
I get it. I totally get it.
And, you know, I said, look, Frank, what'd you think? And he goes, look, I can produce it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So Frank had the actors lined up. He would send me you guys reels. I'd say,
Right.
great. So everybody was
And
fantastic.
I sent you Me and My Nuts, which is it's something
Okay,
it's a series, and I said I want you to watch it.
Okay, you nailed it. Okay, you're actually.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You are the glue in that, by the way. No, you are, because the whole. What I saw, the whole show centers around you, and you.
No,
yes,
no.
it does. You're the glue because everybody.
I'm just the secretary that
No,
everyone
but-
has to go through
But
me.
they all come to you, though.
Well,
It
they
was-
have to go through me. I have
know,
to check them in.
But just the way sometimes you just deadpan, you hear like a ridiculous story, and you literally look at the character and you walk them through. Okay, well, this is how we do it. And they're like, "Whoa!"
I'm just glad you enjoyed my work because I just wanted to.
I thought it was fantastic.
No, I'm glad.
It was fantastic. Because listen, here's the thing: you didn't tell me anything about it.
No, I didn't.
You just literally said, "Here, watch this," and I'm like,
I said, watch it and tell me what you think.
yeah, and I didn't know what I was watching, and I'm like,
Right.
okay, and then
I'm just glad you
it
liked
just
it.
starts to sprout up, and it's like, wow, okay, very good.
So how long do you think, this will be once it's completed?
Right now, it's probably about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So that's. I mean, when we get back down to things like, for example, I'd written it, sent it all to the cast members, but then this is what we do as writers. We come up with ideas.
Well, that's the whole thing, because I know you said you wanted to kind of write more.
But I mean, at some point you have to say, okay, I'm done.
Right.
I can't be the Hearst Castle where we just constantly,
Yeah,
you would never finish a story.
Right.
Because you're always trying to tweak it. But I did add like another
But you want to
scene.
leave it open-ended because that's your kind of footprint that you leave, and there's room for like a sequel or something to come along with it.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because a lot of times you write that way and you don't realize it until someone points it out to you.
Right.
You have a certain style, writing style, where you're right. It's like it is the interpretation of the audience because I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like if there's, if you and your husband are watching something, a film, and like your interpretation can be completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're right, because it is a happy ending
Right.
at the end of Mikey Blue Eyes, but you don't necessarily
does it
know.
stay that way?
Correct, right, exactly. It's kind of a whirlwind romance with them as they reconnect after all those years.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe.
You never
But it's
know.
really, I'm really proud of it because it's about family.
Yep. Yeah.
And as Frank said, it's about amore.
Yes, it is about love. It's about family. It's about relationships,
Yeah.
compromise. There's
Yeah,
a lot
it
in
really
there.
is. And it's funny when you write it and then you look at it again, you see, oh, there's a layer there I wrote that I didn't necessarily mean to write.
Right.
But then all of a sudden,
It's there.
it's there, right?
Yeah.
Because like there's an undercurrent between Frank's character Franco,
Right.
and Danielle's character Theresa, because Frank's character was with his sister 20 years ago when we broke up.
Right.
And he supported her.
Right.
And he suffered in silence with her
Yes.
because I was a jerk and
Right.
broke
You
up with
broke her heart.
I-
You broke her
yeah.
heart. So of course the big older brother is going to be very protective.
Right. But Frank's character was cool about it because he didn't beat her up over it, like verbally, he just was there for her.
Right. Right.
And then once he finds out that we're back together, he's like,
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute.
So he's not a happy camper.
Yeah, but they talk it out.
Right.
They
Yeah.
talk it out, and
Right.
it's
'Cause-
actually
and ultimately he wants his sister to be happy in
he
the
does,
end.
and he does.
Yeah.
And ultimately we find a way to get along.
Yeah.
And we hug. And
Hug it out.
I make sure in the scene I hug him really long, so it annoys him.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to rehearse that. That'll be a blast. So,
Oh my God.
hug Frank.
Cut.
No. Let's do it again. No, Frank, put your head on my shoulder.
Listen, I'm blessed to have worked with Frank and Ralph. And Danielle. It's going to be my first time working with Joe, so I really am looking forward to it. I really am.
And thank you.
Yeah.
No,
It's gonna be fun.
And like Ralph is hysterical. He's a funny guy.
Ralph's great.
And once I got to know Ralph,
Yeah.
I actually started adding more to his character because
Right,
at first
right.
Ralph's character was going to be, kind of stereotypical tough guy.
Yeah.
But he's funny and he
Yes,
says things and he does things that are like, what? What? So
Yeah.
it's awesome. I'm really.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy, and he asked to do one Irish joke in the film, and I said yes,
Okay.
but then he didn't tell me it could be like a 30-minute Irish joke.
This is true.
So
you never know.
it might have to be a miniseries.
Yeah, it might.
I don't know.
It might.
I don't know where we go with that.
Hey, listen, we're going to take my last break, but don't go away, because when we come back, we are going to talk about Stephen's children's book. Okay? We'll be back after this. Don't go away.
Figure it out.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
Hey everybody, it's Theresa from Tea Time. What's my show about? I interview people in the entertainment industry, producers, directors, actors, and guess what? My show is on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Channel 20 on Optimum TV. So tune in because it's fun, interesting, and exciting.
Doc, who's the best comedian you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boys?
Theresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Theresa Farrow.
Doc, who's your favorite Guinea?
Theresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Theresa Farrow.
All right, Doc, I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad I am back from hiatus, and joining me is Stephen Michael Kelly. He's an author, he's a director, writer, actor. But you've directed as well too. You've directed and you've produced.
All the three
Really?
films, yeah.
I mean, you do it all. But you know what he did? He wrote a children's book. It's called The Adventures of Rex and Daisy. Henry does his best. And this, thank you for putting that up because I'm holding it as well. It's a great read. It's a fast read. It is a nice, beautiful book for children. And I'll tell you the truth, as an adult, I enjoyed it myself. So I want to know, how did this all happen? How did you come about and say, I think I want to write a kid's book?
It's a kind of a crazy story. So because of the three films I'd done, I had to start becoming much more active on social media.
Okay.
And I had met an author through Instagram who'd seen the films I'd done. He knew I'd written them. He said, oh, what else have you written?
Okay.
I said, I've written screenplays. Oh, okay, anything else? I said, yeah, I wrote a sonnet like 30 years ago when I wasn't even in that space.
Right.
About breaking up.
Okay.
You know, being a kid, breaking up with,
Yeah.
So he's all sent it to me. So I sent it to him. He said, oh, you should put this on Twitter. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want that kind of attention.
Yeah.
You know, do I want to get slammed? This is terrible, this, that, and the other. So sure enough, I put it on Twitter, and a children's book publisher read it, and she contacted me, and she said, this speaks to me.
This is how it happens.
Well, this is funny. She said, would you ever consider writing a children's book?
Wow.
No.
Oh, you said no
I said
right
no,
away.
because I wasn't in that
Wow,
space.
you didn't even hesitate.
No, I said no, because I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
So she said, well, why don't you think about it? And I said, okay, so
I thought about it.
No, I thought about it, and I called her back, and I said, okay, so what age group? Because I did a little research, because I don't know the genre. So children's books are very dependent on age groups.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I said, oh, okay, so I called her back and asked her, okay, what kind of age groups? She's like, 7 to 11. Okay.
Okay.
And then I asked her a word count. She gave me a word count, like how many,
Okay.
And I literally, in 2 days, came up with the concept of Rex and Daisy.
Okay.
Wrote it up as a manuscript, sent it to her. She says, I love it, and I'll be your publisher.
Wow.
So she did all the illustrations, and it's...
Which is beautiful, by the way.
She did a fantastic job.
She really did.
Fantastic job.
Yep.
So it's been...
So tell everyone what it's about.
So Rex and Daisy, it is a...
Are the two dogs?
Yeah, it's Rex and Daisy are the two dogs.
Yes.
They live in their family in Denver, and it's a set of 8-year-old twins.
Right.
So in this world, in my world, these two dogs can talk.
Right.
But not all dogs can talk.
Right.
And they make that point in the book that just because they can talk doesn't mean they're better than the dogs across the street that can't.
Correct.
So the subtitle is Henry Does His Best.
Right.
So what that means is Henry's playing baseball, and he's 8 and he's struggling. He's having a hard time getting hits, and he's down. And so his coaches, and he finds out by accident, by the way, that the two dogs can talk.
Right.
Because they're worried that would kind of upset them. It's like aliens landing on the White House lawn.
Right.
It kind of,
How are they going to react?
Right, correct. So in the book, the message really is in terms of Henry and playing baseball are two things. Okay, were you prepared? Are you ready to go? Yes. Did you do your best? Yes.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, what else could you ask for, right? Especially kids that are 8.
Yeah.
You know, as we get older, our worlds are much more results-driven, oriented.
Yep.
But the message is really positive, and the dogs find a way. Like the dogs use an example of when they play frisbee with their dad.
Yeah.
Where Rex says to Henry, "Okay, when we play frisbee, when we run on a straight line, I'm faster than you,
Right.
Daisy,
Right.
my sister. But when we play frisbee, she's a little smaller, a little more nimble, and she's better at it.
Right.
So she's better at frisbee than I am, but I'm faster than her in a straight line.
Right.
So we all have our strengths.
Correct. We each bring something
correct.
different to the table.
And that's really the gist of it.
Yeah.
In that story. So the idea of Rex and Daisy is to be a series of books.
Okay.
Because the next
Great.
book I want to do is going to be about Emily, the sister.
Okay.
And how Emily makes a new friend. And the new friend is going to be from a different country.
Is Emily the older sister?
They're twins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no,
they're
I know
twins.
they're twins.
Yeah, they're twins.
Okay, I
yeah.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
All right.
So the next story will be about Emily.
Got it.
And I'm going to incorporate, it'll be from a different country. I won't say the country yet.
Right.
But they'll have a dog.
Okay.
Who's also from a different country.
Okay.
And our two dogs, Rex and Daisy, help them assimilate, help the other dog assimilate
Right.
to living in America.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, let's say, going to a dog park. Because that's a whole dynamic. If anyone's own dogs, that's a whole dynamic in terms of how dogs relate to one another at a dog park.
So how long did it take you to write this?
2 days.
Really?
Yeah. Once and any writer could probably tell you the same thing. Once you get in that mode, and you're in the groove,
zone.
you just zone,
Yeah.
you lose sense of time.
Yeah.
And you're writing from, noon to midnight.
Right.
And it just flows.
Well, you can find the book on Amazon, and you could go to Stephen's website. It's StephenMichaelKelly.com. You could look there. He's also on Facebook under Stephen Michael Kelly, and Instagram is Stephen Kelly Actor Official. So you know what? That's where you go. Those are the places you go to look up what he's doing, and I'm excited for you.
Thank
you
you.
have a lot of great things going on now.
Thank you. It
And,
is.
and for it to be a series is exciting as well.
It's really rewarding because I've sent the book out to teachers.
Right, and you're trying to get it. You're trying
correct.
to get it in
school systems because it
Yes.
really is. It's a teaching moment
It
for
is.
kids.
It's to teach, to be prepared, and try your best.
Right.
And that's the two things, like you said. That's all you could ask for.
I've done this. I've read to kids in school systems in LA.
Yes.
And the response has been fantastic, and it's
Yeah.
very rewarding. And again,
Yeah.
when I tell the kids, like I told a classroom, a kindergarten class about this, and then the kindergarten teacher then incorporated the two themes. Okay,
Right,
guys,
right.
are we ready to go? Yes.
Yes.
Are we going to try our best?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And something like that is
Yeah.
incredibly rewarding.
Sure.
And when you read them, the portion of the book, and they come up to you and they ask you questions and their eyes are really big and it resonates because then they start talking about things and
And dogs in
happiness.
baseball. Hello.
I mean,
Come on.
with dogs, I mean, it was
Yeah.
so funny. my first time I read to a kindergarten class, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, guys, so here's the title, The Adventures of Rex. Oh, I have a dog named Rex. And Daisy. Oh, I have a friend. And then you mentioned Henry and Emily.
Yeah.
Now you have 4 names.
Yeah.
And all these kids have some sort of connection, like, oh, I know this, that, they all have connections.
Yeah.
And it's just bright, you're right. And with
Well, you know
animals-
what, my friend? I'm glad we have a connection through
So
our
am I.
mutual friend, Frank.
Yes.
And I want to thank you so much for doing this for me.
It's
I
been
really
my
do.
pleasure.
You come
My
back
pleasure.
anytime, whenever you're back in New York, let me know.
My pleasure.
I'm looking forward to filming Mikey Blue Eyes with you. Thank you, everyone, for watching Tea Time and tuning back in. I will be here next week. Please, remember, tell everyone you love them, and I'll see you next week. Ciao, everybody.
Thank you.